welcome back to a new episode of Canto Be Like, a Cantonese and English bilingual podcast helping you to learn Cantonese and Hong Kong culture. I'm your host, Venus, and today we are going to have a mainly English episode because I'm going to talk about a festival which is happening right now or happening soon, depending on how you define it. So it's gonna be a cultural episode, so I'm gonna tell you the history and stories and my personal experience with this festival, which is the Hungry Ghost Festival. I think it's sort of linked nicely to our previous episode, which is on talking to your grandparents, because the Hungry Ghost Festival, the core theme of it is filial piety. How? So filial piety is respecting your parents and ancestors, being a good son and daughter, being a good family member, so to speak, and is a core theme, a core idea behind the Hungry Ghost Festival. So I think it would be fitting to talk about it. And also it's approaching this festival, so I think maybe it would be interesting for you guys to know. And it's actually quite a big thing in the Chinese culture as well, in East Asia, Southeast Asia, so places with Chinese diaspora. So yeah, I think it would be a nice thing to talk. So without further ado, let's dive in. So the Hungry Ghost Festival has both Buddhist origin and Taoist origin, but the line between Buddhist and Taoist is a bit blurred in the Chinese culture because both religions are so integrated into our culture. It's sometimes very hard to say, oh, we're doing this because we're Buddhist, or we're doing this because we're Taoist. A lot of the time we're doing this because it's just what our parents and grandparents do with us when we're young. It's not even a religious thing, it's just a cultural thing, so to speak. But the Hungry Ghost Festival, the origin of it, you can trace back to Buddhists or Taoists. So for Buddhists, it's also called Ulambana, and it's originated from a story about Mu Lian, so Mo Lin in Cantonese. So he is a disciple of Buddha, and he uses his power to find his mother who is dead in the underworld, so in hell, but I don't know the exact term for it, but underworld feels more fitting and appropriate. So he discovered that she was suffering in the realm of hungry ghosts. So basically she didn't have enough to eat, and out of filial piety, he wanted to help her to escape that eternal suffering. So the Buddha instructed him to make offerings to the monks in the community on her behalf, which ultimately freed her from the hungry ghost. So that's why I said filial piety is a central theme behind the Hungry Ghost Festival, because it's based on this story we call Mo Lin Gao Mo. Mo Lin Gao Mo is basically Mu Lian saving his mother. So that's the origin of the Buddhist origin of Hungry Ghost Festival. And for Taoists, so the festival is called 中元节, but sometimes in Hong Kong it's called 盂兰节. It's interchangeable the way you call it. I think 中元节 is more in China and in Southeast Asia because my Singaporean boyfriend calls it 中元节. So I think, I'm not sure, but they refer to the same thing, the Hungry Ghost Festival. So this day is when the Taoist deity, the Lord of the Earth, assesses the sins of the deceased and grant them amnesty. And people perform rituals to help their ancestor to absolve their sin in front of the Lord of the Earth. So it's also about helping your ancestor to live a better afterlife, so to speak. And the whole thing is so intertwined with Chinese ancestor worship, because in China, like 祭祖 or 拜祖先, so which means worshipping your ancestor and offering rituals and food to your ancestor. So it's a key theme in our festival and culture. So again, it ties back to filial piety. And that's the origin of a lot of these festivals. Growing up, I never really paid attention to the Hungry Ghost Festival. I mean, my papa, my grandma, she believes in taoist things, like she worshipped the Guan Yin, so Gunyam, and we have this shrine at her house to give offering to the deceased family member, so my oigong, my gongong, so her husband and some ancestors. But we never really did anything particular, or we went out of our way to do things for Hungry Ghost Festival. We don't really do anything. So to me, it's just something people do and I see on the streets. So during Hungry Ghost Festival, you will see people 燒街衣. So what's 燒街衣? That means like they have a can, like a gasoline can, like a tin can, like a big one, like a bit like the ones they used to put paints in, that kind of can. And they have one, like a bin and a can. I don't know how to explain that, but a bin, okay, so a big can. And they will burn stuff in it. So they burn clothes, they burn 陰司紙. So what's 陰司紙is like the money that people use in the underworld. So it's just a funny paper. It's just a piece of paper you can buy from the funeral store that are supposed to be burned for the ancestor to use in the underworld. So they burn that for the ancestors. And they will have fruits, they will have buns, they will have rice to offer to the hungry ghosts so that they are appeased and won't go haunt people. They do that in the streets. Like you actually see people burning stuff on the sidewalk. So that's quite interesting. Those some places, they have designated area for you to do that, but it's usually in the older district. In my district, they don't have that, so that's why people do it on the sidewalk. And another thing that I remember about Hungry Ghost Festival growing up is I have a friend. Her family is taoist, so they believe in these kind of things. And she has a jade pendant she wears all the time, so it's supposed to protect her from the evil spirits, and she wears it all the time. And she's a bit superstitious, so she does believe in Hungry Ghost Festival. And whenever we hang out in August, like Gregorian calendar August, so our normal August, which translates to the 7th lunar month in the lunar calendar, right? So for the whole 7th month is supposed to be unlucky. That's why people lay low and try not to make financial decision or big decision and go home early. So she's one of those. And she told me once she stayed out with friends during the 7th lunar month, so July in the lunar calendar, she felt like discomfort in her body, and like she felt she was haunted, and there was something riding on her back, like something, it's like 上咗身, we call it, like something is like attached to her body, if that makes sense. Like it's so hard to describe because it's not my first-hand experience. I heard it from my friend, but I find it kind of like, I didn't believe it. I was just like, wow, you're so dramatic. Like, how can you be haunted? It's like 21st century. Why are you so superstitious? So I was like, nah, man. But I experienced something similar myself this August leading up to the Hungry Ghost Festival. That's why I'm talking to you guys about this. Before, I really didn't really care about this festival, but 有時真係唔到你唔信, which means sometimes you cannot like disregard it when you experience it yourself. 有時真係唔到你唔信. I've been having sleep paralysis and very bad nightmare for 2 weeks now, and it was literally the start of the lunar July. And at first I thought I was just being stressed, right? But nothing really happened to me the past month, so I don't know why I'm so stressed. And then one of my colleague and my dad was like, you know what, it could be because of Hungry Ghost Festival and the energy and the force field and the aura and like just everything is a bit haunted, and maybe that's why you're having a hard time sleeping. And I'm like, yeah, because I can't put my finger on it, so I'm like, maybe it could be why. And there's a reason why a lot of people believe in it, right? And I'm naturally curious when it comes to Chinese and Cantonese culture and just spirituality and supernatural things in general. So I'm like, oh, let's do that for my podcast, and maybe someone out there who is having an unlucky period of time can rationalize. I don't want to say rationalize because this feels very irrational, but it might give you some a funny reason or excuse to the unfortunate and unlucky things that have been going on in your life right now. I don't know. So I've been talking to some friends and family about that's a bit like a rough patch I'm having right now, not sleeping peacefully and having some trouble focusing because of the lack of sleep. And I also read around online, and these are some of the things that we can consider doing when our energy seems to be a bit off, or just to do it in general during the lunar July to preserve your energy and maintain better luck. So these are the don'ts during the Hungry Ghost Festival. So some activities to avoid are staying out late, which I mentioned in the previous session about my friend. So basically the theory behind it is that it's yin yang, so yum yang. So yang is the sun and like the living, right? And the yang energy is the weakest after the sunset, so it makes you more susceptible to yin. So yin is like the negative, the spirit, the underworld. They are more prominent at night. That's why you avoid walking home alone at night and staying out late. One thing to note that is don't take the last bus or train, because in Chinese folklore, they say the final public transport of the night also carry the spirits, not just the living. It's just a cultural connotation, and if you want to play it safe, just go home early after work. Don't go out and stay out all night. And don't take photos at night, because you might capture something unwanted in your photo. I don't know. This I really don't know. I think this one is a bit superstitious. And also, when you see offerings on the sidewalk, never step, kick, or mock on it, because it's a profound sign of disrespect to the spirit and the people who believe in this festival and the people who make the offering. So it's just very rude. Like, why would you do that, right? This one is easy. And also, don't whistle, sing, or call out names at night, because they will attract curious spirit who might follow you home. So, and the spirit might latch on the people whose name you've been called out. So just don't do it. This one sounds a bit like what my friend experienced. And actually, yeah, when a Hungry Ghost Festival, her jade pendant broke. Something bad happened, and then the pendant broke, and she was okay. So she thinks the jade pendant protected her. So I don't know, like, sometimes when you hear these kind of stories and experience something yourself, you can't help but believe it, like, right? Also, in general, lunar July is considered to be a bit inauspicious, like unlucky and foreboding, so to speak. So avoid making a new start, avoid signing, say, a big contract, making a major life decision, making large investments, moving house, having wedding or engagement or some activities that are considered lucky and yang, which are better to be held during some luckier time instead of lunar July. So a lot of people would avoid this month for wedding, and also avoid surgery and medical procedures if you can choose it. So in our culture, we think lunar July basically are just bad for everything. So might as well just wait a bit and maybe you will have a smoother and more successful outcome for your procedures. And yeah, these are some of the main things that I've read online and what my friends and family told me. In Hong Kong, a lot of people, they don't just protect their energy during lunar July. They are very spiritual or superstitious, or they're very supernaturally minded, so to speak. And they carry protective items. And like my friend, she has a jade pendant, which she's been carrying since she was a kid, which broke and protected her in her theory. I mean, I personally still am not convinced, but she is like so... She thinks that time she avoided that tragic incident because of the pendant, and it meant so much to her, so I'm not gonna say anything, but yeah. And alright, a lot of people carry protective items, so like a charm from a temple, if they are Buddhist or Taoist. Even if they are not, sometimes they carry a charm which their grandparents purchase at the temple with them. And some people carry a small pouch of sea salt to absorb and purify the personal energy field. And a lot of people wear crystals, so obsidian, quartz, and just crystal that are believed to be able to ground and protect you from negative energy. Except that there's a thing in Hong Kong, so it's called 碌柚葉沖涼. So the leaf from a grapefruit, or like from a grapefruit, is believed to be cleansing. So they will add that leaf to the bath water, and then you take a shower or take a bath with that water to wash away the bad luck. So it's like a spiritual cleansing ritual. And yeah, they will also be burning light incense like sage, Palo Santo, or sandalwood, so to clear the moldy, smudgy, and like bad aura in the house. So yeah, there are some of these things that people do, right? And I also know a lot of people, they do yoga or meditation to ground themselves and correct and rectify their energy field. And some people visit a temple, make offering and prayer at the temple, and listen to the bells and the chanting. So, and also some people, if they believe in Taoism and Buddhism, they believe in karma, right? So they practice generosity. So it's giving doing good, giving benevolence to your community, and that generates a lot of positive energy, like good karma. Though I don't think it's the right approach with karma, right? You shouldn't be doing it you should be doing it for the sake of being good instead of, oh, it generates good karma. But some people do it for the sake of karma, to get brownie points with Buddha, like how I call it. But yeah, so a lot of business people, a lot of rich people, they do charity. Some of them are benevolent, some of them are good people, and they care about the community. But a lot of rich people, they just do it because they want to make up of the negative things they did to the society. And some of my friends, they told me they set like an energetic boundaries. I think it's more like a mental health and well-being thing. So they won't socialize with people who they deem have a negative vibe. Like if some people, they fuck up the vibe, so to speak, they won't interact with them to protect their energy. So only positive energy, positive vibes people are allowed in their lives. And for me, myself, I find spending time near nature during the day, like walking on the grass, hug a tree, like simply just sit there and breathe. And because I live by the ocean, I go to my park and I look at the ocean, I read a book, I let the sun shine on me, and it's like very cleansing and stabilizing. And yeah, these are also some things I do, and I manage my emotion and mindset as well. So like negative emotions and like fear, anxiety, stress, I tell myself they don't define me, and I try to let go. And that's like another whole episode of like what we can talk about. So I won't go into too much details. Like we can definitely do an episode to go through what to do to take care of yourself and self-care and well-being. But yeah, these are some of the things you can practice in this coming month so that the hungry ghosts don't come and haunt you like they do to me. Alright guys, I think this episode on Hungry Ghost Festival has come to an end. I hope you will have a lucky lunar July or August, late August, early September, and take care of yourself. It's a tough world out there, even without the hungry ghosts. And I hope these advice are applicable to your life outside of the spiritual realm, because I think some of the advice are very valid and useful when you're having a rough time and experiencing bad sleep or like stress or toxicity in your life that needs some cleansing and healing. I think they're all valid and good things to implement even if you don't believe in spirits and ghosts. I also hope you have a glimpse into this quite instrumental festival in Chinese culture. It's kind of big in my culture. Like every year people do something about it. We, well, air quotes, celebrate it, and it's an integrated part of the Cantonese culture. And I think it's important that you know and understand and appreciate it, especially if you're living in Hong Kong and see people burning stuff on the sidewalk and getting very curious and confused about it. And I hope my episode gives you an answer as to why people are doing that. So thanks for tuning in to yet another episode of Can To Be Like. And I always love interacting with you guys, and I appreciate if you drop me a DM via Instagram, YouTube, or even email. You can find the details in the show notes. And I hope to see you next time. Take care. It's a rough world, and see you. Bye.